Hi and welcome back. Today we're going to learn how to work out the gradient and the y-intercepts of linear relationships and how to sketch them. So I'm going to run through two and then I'm going to get you to do two. So let's have a look at this. So the question asks us to find the gradient and the y-intercept for the following graphs. So the first one's a bit easier, the second one's a bit more challenging. So if you're feeling good, if you're feeling confident, feel free to pause this video and have a bit of a go, and then we're going to go through this. So let's do the first one together. So what I want you to remember is that any equation could be written in the form of y equals mx plus c. So you may have come across this, you may have seen this before. Some people use different letters, it means the same thing, and we're just going to run through it. So basically, if it's in a form of y equals mx plus c, whatever's in front of x, so in this case m, is my gradient or my slope. So that tells me how steep my line is. And this value at the end, which I called c, is my y-intercept. And that's where it crosses the y-axis. So my first equation is actually written in that form nice and easily. So you've got y equals 2x minus 1. So straight away you could see, the gradient is 2 and neg1 is the y-intercept. Beautiful, nice and easy. So let's just write that out. So gradient, which is given the symbol m. Do you know why? I actually have no idea why we give the gradient the symbol m. It's probably the Greek letter for gradient, but if you know, feel free to put it in the comment section and let me know. So we're teaching each other here, isn't that cool? But anyway, our gradient m is 2 and my y-intercept is, I like to write it in coordinate form, 0, neg 1. So it asks us to draw this, so let us do that. So when you draw this in your assessment, in your exams or whenever you do it, make sure you do a good scale. Accurate scale on graph paper, ideally, if you have graph paper. I don't, so I'm going to do it on here. So my y-intercept is 0, neg 1, so I'm going to estimate it's over here. And then my gradient is 2. So what that means is for every 1 unit my graph goes up by, it goes across by 2 units, because that's what my gradient is. Okay, so we're going to say, remember this point was 0, neg 1, because that's my y-intercept. And then we're saying for every 1 it goes up, it goes across by 2. So in this case, this point would be 2, 0, because it's gone, the y value has gone up by 1. So that's why we've added 1 unit to that y value, which is giving me that 0. And because the gradient's 2, it's gone across by 2. So to my x value, once it's gone up by 1 unit, let's make this in red, it's gone across by 2 units. So hopefully that makes sense why in this particular case it's 2, 0. And because it crosses the x-axis there, we call that the x-intercept. And you only need 2 points to draw a line. This is actually easier to do if you are doing this by hand and you've got a ruler and you've drawn this on a nice graph. But you basically only need 2 points to draw an equation, and then you extend the line. And let's label my line. So this was y equals to 2x minus 1. And I don't have scales on this, but if you don't have scales, I would give you the marks if you label the point, but it kind of depends on the teacher and the examiner. So it's a good idea to always have scales, label your axes, and label your graph. And your graph should look something like this for the first one. Nice and easy, right? Hopefully that makes sense. The second one is a bit more trickier, so let's do it. So everyone ready? Everyone feeling good? Hopefully that all makes sense. Let's try B. So B was 2x plus 3y equals 3. 2x plus 3y equals 3. Okay, so this is not in the form of y equals mx plus c, which is a bit of a bummer. Because if it's in this form, it's easy to see what the gradient is and what the intercept is. So step one, we want to make y the subject. We want to put it in that form. So what you need to do is make y the subject. In order to do that, we need to move this 2x to this side first. So let's do that. It is a positive on the left-hand side, so when you move it across the equal sign, it becomes the opposite, it becomes negative. So we're left with 3y on the left, and my right-hand side becomes 3 take 2x. Perfect. And then we just want to get, remember, we want y by itself, and there's a 3 in front of it. So we want to get rid of that 3. So what do? We divide everything by 3. Boom. And that gets rid of that. And so we're left with y on this side. 3 divided by 3 is 1, and then you have minus 2 on 3x. And let's just write the x value first, and then the y. So hopefully you could see this and this is the same. I've just written this first, and don't forget the negative, and then I've written this 1. And if there's not a symbol in front of the 1, it means there's a positive. And the reason I did that is because then you could see easily what my gradient is and what my y-intercept are, hey? So let me just label that. That is my gradient. And that is my y-intercept. So gradient is minus 2 on 3, y-intercept in coordinate form is 0, 1. Perfect. That's everything I need to draw my graph. So let's plot this. So let me draw my grid, my Cartesian plane. So this time you have 0, 1 as your y-intercept. So let's label that. Okay, the gradient is negative 2 on 3. So remember, gradient is rise over run, but in this case it's negative. So what that means is for every 2 it goes down, it goes across by 3. Okay, so let me just label this point. So this point was 0, 1. So we're saying it goes down. So we're looking at the y value, sorry, the y value, because that's what it does. It goes down by 2 units. So that's 1 unit, and that's 2 units because the y value is 2. And then it goes across by 3 units. Okay, so it's going to be roughly there. Let's plot that in. And let's label that point. So it's gone down by 2. So before, my y value was 1, and we're going to subtract 2 from that. So it goes to 0 and then neg 1. So my y value is neg 1. And it has gone across by 3 units. Because remember, rise over run. So not only have we gone down 2 units, we have gone across by 3 units. So that was 0, and we've gone across by 3 units. So it should be 3 now. 3 neg 1. Hopefully that makes sense. You understand that? And we're going to draw my beautiful line that goes through that point. Let's do this a bit neater, because you don't want to do all this hard work and then lose marks because you're not neat. And remember, you would be doing this pen and paper on graph paper, hopefully, not like freestyling like I am. Do as I say, not as I do. Okay, pretend that's a straight line. Let's draw an arrow. Label my line as well. So y equals neg 2 on 3x plus 1. Boom. So good work. If you understood that, if you followed through, I hope you feel like you've learned something, and I will do 2 more questions like this in the next video. Thank you for watching, and I will catch you next time where we're going to do some more maths. Bye-bye.